I can't actually see the screen from here. Am I live? I'm on the finish line camera. Yeah, no worries. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, you sound great. You're not like Toph had the microphone in the upper swear. It's so like. I wonder if anybody else has got a headset on, and if so, if they can. G'day.
You just got the one camera for the event? Is this the only camera?
No.
You've got other cameras around?
Yeah, we've got heaps of other cameras.
Yeah, okay.
We got one over there, one there, one up there. We're going to run one about 1.2 k's down that way, and then we have the running camera too. We've got heaps.
Okay.
What?
And so they're going to the big screen. So who controls which camera goes where?
Not me.
What goes on the
caravan.
There's a caravan, is there? Yeah. Okay.
Down there, it's got a bunch of video mixing equipment in it, and audio and whatnot.
And this goes on to the internet live. Is that how it works?
This live.
Cool. I'm setting an event in New Zealand. I'm just interested in the technology that's going on. This must cost a lot of money for you guys.
It doesn't cost me anything.
No,
I'm employed, but
the cost of the event must be.
It'd cost a bit. It costs Toph, the guy who does all this for a living, a lot of gear.
Yeah.
Caravan, between the caravan and all the camera equipment, and all of it's run off fibre optic cable, armoured fibre optic. So that's very expensive.
Right.
But I added it all up the other day based on estimates and asking, and it's about $350,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Still, it's his business, right?
Yeah, it's his business. Well, it's sort of what he does for a living, but so he's doing radio controls, GPS tracking, timing, and video.
Yeah, impressive. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. If you want to know more, there's a guy, he's probably a bit bigger than me, grey, like sweater roller.
Yeah.
The western side of this slope, the rock suddenly grows in size and complexity. Alexandra Edward coming into women's 16, running herself into third by the look of it, and Ariadne Ishikova looks like she's taken the lead in the women's 16 class. This is going to be a very competitive class. It's one of the largest classes here today, and that's a time of 27 at the spectator at the last control, 27:36. So we'll just wait for the finish times. They don't seem to be coming through that fast.
Pay you anything, did I?
Pardon?
I didn't have to pay you anything.
No, you didn't. I'm back at Cam 1, by the way. I have people running down the chute too. Cool beans.
Paula Shingler in the women's 60A coming in second place. At the radio control, but she's got a fair way to go in that course.
Well done.
That's going to confuse me. The radio's on different courses at different points.
Go.
So Alexandra Edward, second place currently in the women's 16, time of 34.06, but Ariadne Isakova is going to take the lead clearly into that when her time comes up on the screen.
Listen, baby. Well done.
Apologies for the hissing of the wind in the microphone. Paula Shingler finishing there. Ooh, looks like we'll wait and see for that one. Ariadne's time was 27.57, so that's a clear lead in the women's 16A class. And we should have a new leader in the men's 16. Two of the most competitive classes this week, the men's and women's 16, with all the New Zealanders over here as well as the New South Wales schools, the Australian schools teams competing. So two of the biggest classes. Jenny Bourne, who I know she said to me this morning she's been looking forward to this for a long time. Well, so have we, and it's great to have her. She's done a time of just over 30 minutes it'll be when she punches the finish, which she's just done. So a very good time there for Jenny Bourne in the
Dude was absolutely
the women's 78 class.
Listen, baby.
And I missed my granddaughter. She's just finished in the women's 10A in the time of 18:20. Freya Dent. Currently the leader in the women's 10A class. 18 minutes 20 on that course. So I've seen the course, I've walked around it. It was a great course for a very easy course. Challenging but safe. So I can tell you that Jenny Bourne's time was 30 minutes and 3 seconds, and clear lead there in the women's class. Bernard Walker finishing there. He's currently leading in his class in the time of 38.38. So some pretty fast times out there, but it is a middle distance, and the winning time should be between 25 for the older classes and 25 to 35, I think, from memory. The bulletin did say that the elite classes have been set to world standards, so we're expecting maybe the winning times in the elite classes to be maybe closer to 40, even just over the 40, but we'll wait and see, and the course setter will be very interested in that. But some of the older classes, they're running, the winning times look like they're really spot on.
Well done.
All right, Nikita Gelderman finishing in a time of 35.37 in the women's 65. My glasses aren't working today. Women's 55A class. One of the early starters, obviously, in that class, but she'll be very competitive, I'm sure. John Hodson at the pre-warning at the last control, and Nicola Dalheim also. And
Your leg's bleeding, mate.
sorry.
Pardon?
Oh, okay. Yeah. We had Greta Prince from New Zealand in women's 16 at the last control in a time of 31.12. So she has probably come into the finish, and she will take second place there in the women's 16A.
Hello there. I'm living the life of luxury right now. I've even got a chair.
Sorry?
I said I'm living the life of luxury. I have a chair.
The hay bale. I've seen some of the finishers using it. my old mates Dave Meyer in the men's 35 and a time of 42.23. Carolyn Matthews at this last control in a time of 38.12. And Warren Key, surprise, surprise, he's come up first in his class in a time of 37.02 at the last control, so we'll wait for the finish times, and I don't think I'm getting the finish times until they actually walk up the hill to the download. So there's a little bit of a delay for that.
Hole in your knee, mate. Oh, good.
Okay. Simon George at the last control, men's 60 in a time of 41.32. Currently in third place. And as I said, there's a bit of a delay because people have to walk up the hill to download before I'm getting the times up for the actual finish. But the radio control we've got is on the last control, so I don't think too many places will change in between the last control and the finish shoot. Maybe one or two.
He hasn't. The only one's the Living Alive one, which is still closed. Password's open for all lowercase, but you know, it's closed. Yeah, that's the only one that's available at the moment. And yeah, of course so. It's just not set up because we've been really busy, hey? Yeah, I know, I can hear them. There you go, we got more people on M1. Well done, mate. that. It's done. Stick it on one of the legs of the sawhorse, or there, yeah. By the way, you're probably on the screen. Yeah, you're on the screen right now. How do you reckon you went?
Not good. I was alright. Just had three reasonably terrible mistakes.
Ah, whoopsie daisies.
One was here. I was like, go to map change. There's like two guys standing there with the map for me. Running around in circles. And then another one, I didn't have a plan of what I was going to do. Which was really stupid.
So basically, your brain's been so occupied with other things you didn't actually think about your run?
No, like, honestly, like three mistakes. Like, they were not small ones, which was annoying. Three big ones, couple little ones, but like it was a pretty good run except for that. So I'm like kind of happy, but kind of also a bit pissed off. Like the worst one was towards the end. The grave was sort of starting to die. I kind of wasn't paying super good attention to where I was. It punched up the hill, find the fence, found the fence, turn around, ran straight back down to it, and turn around, ran straight back up to the fence again.
That is silly goose.
Yeah, you can watch it on the track later.
Yeah, right. Do you have access to a rub? I was about to say, don't forget the tape. Yeah. Was that another guy about the Wi-Fi? We're going to get a lot of that up. Is the PGM button green? Just try to remember that the graphic is there when you're framing the shots, basically. So try to avoid having people in kind of that bottom right area because they'll be blocked by the graphic. If that makes sense. Okay, so I'll just go showing. Well done.
We're just trying to fix up the radio on the finish, so that's why we've gone quiet. Su Yan Tay at the last control in a time of 47.59, and this is going to be a test of our radios to see if the time at the finish comes up straight away. And if she does, we're cooking with gas. No, not gas, electricity these days. She's just punched the finish.
Someone else coming in.
We are very conscious of the fact we don't have live results working yet, so we'll get that done shortly. We just had a few hiccups. It's been a bit of a pressured environment working in the last few days.
Yep,
So I've had a bit of a problem coming up from Bendigo. Had broke down at West Wyalong, so big screen came in last night late, and so we'll get organised eventually. And the wind's not helping. But live results will be accessible via a number of apps. One of them is Live OL, and they'll be up soon.
I'm ready.
Okay, looks like we have a bit of movement here. We've got live results now available. You can go to the Live OL app or live results, and you should be able to access the results. And we're also getting the results from the immediate time after they punched the finish control. So Cole Cleary finishing there in men's Open B in third place. So we're off. We're ready, and we believe we have a running camera out in the terrain for the elites. It's actually working, and so we're looking forward to a lot of feedback from the elite competition videos. We've got a spectator control over here to my left, and they have a map exchange halfway through their course, believe it or not. And if anyone's interested, you should have read the bulletin, I suppose, but Steve Craig, one of Australia's best orienteers over many years, is the course setter of this event, and he's made a fantastic layout for the elite course. The elite courses actually will start just over behind the arena, up the top of the hill here on a ramp, and that is why we've had to ask them to go into quarantine so that they don't see anything that we project up on the big screen. We've got tracking will be happening soon on the big screen, and also live video from out in the terrain. And if the wind dies down, it might help. Yeah, we're conscious of the fact that the female results aren't coming up on Live OL at the moment, but I'm sure the guru man Toph will look into that and work it out. But the men's results are up on Live OL if you want to access those. can tell you that in the men's 16, Oscar Burns from New Zealand is currently leading by 1 minute and 7 seconds over Alton Freeman from the New South Wales Schools team, or Bigfoot Orienteers, and a fellow New Zealander, Harley Brennan from the Bay of Plenty. The time of 36.10 there for Carsten Jorgensen from New Zealand in the men's 58. He's in first place. No, I'm looking at Scott Simpson's time. Anything can go wrong, it does. It's showing up equal first, but they've got different times, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Eric Morris coming in there to the finish in a time of 36.43, takes the lead over Mark Freeman and Paul Marsh in the men's 55A class. Very competitive New South Wales Orienteers in that class. Be interesting to see if anyone can get under Eric's time. My wife's just come and sat next to me with Japanese dumplings with a hint of ginger, and they look really good. It's being sold down there on the other side of the shed by Mr. Flo Plus, surgeon, and they look really, really good. So please go down and support our caterers and our coffee people.
Sorry, can you say it again? Oh, okay. There's a tree there then. There's a tree there that I never go past, so I usually stop there. I go a bit further. Okay, cool. I'll go, so that's...
one of the early finishes in the men's 75, Paul Hoopman, is coming down the finish chute now in a time of maybe just under 34 minutes. And he'll be the time to beat in that class, men's 75A. Yeah. Oh no, just over 34 minutes, 34.07. And the first aid man, Eric Baker, Northern Tablelands, doctor. Good to see him back orienteering after a few years, and he's done a time of 48.54. It puts him in front of his Northern Tablelands compatriot Alec Watt. They've both been great help to us over the last year or so. We've stayed many times in Eric's, what he calls his shed. It's not a shed, but that's what it's affectionately known as. It's a very, very salubrious accommodation that he's provided for us while we've been travelling up here. Oh, Vanessa Freeman, you'll be very happy with yourself today. You've had a good run. Currently in third place. Mark Shingler finishing there, the controller of the schools next week, in a time of 55.53. Sharon Lambert, the finance director of the Australian Orienteering Championships Carnival, has just finished there in women's 55A short. Sorry, 55A, my apologies, Sharon, 55A. Of course, might have been short. We have a few of the favourites coming in now. Bruce Arthur in the men's 50A class, time of 35 minutes at the last control. And Bruce will set the leading time in his class. We'll just wait for that time to come up, 35.20. So Bruce Arthur is taking the lead in the men's 50A class. Tony Wolford there, taking the lead in the men's 60A class. No, yes, he was taking the lead. And so Bruce has taken the lead away from Carsten Jorgensen in that class. Very proud grandmother. Might actually be in third place in a time of 41.02. So the current positions in the men's 50 class, it's a very competitive. Bruce Arthur in a time of 35.20 has a 50-second lead over Carsten Jorgensen. Andy Hogg a further 4 or 5 minutes back behind Carston in a time of 41.02. Scott Simpson in 4th place, 44.59, and John Toomey in 5th, 45.09. Blair Truen down in 6th place in a time of 47.42. So Bruce and Carston showing their speed out there in this complex granite terrain, where there's no shortage of rock, some of which is mapped, most of which is mapped, and some is not big enough to be mapped. Or maybe, yeah, not big enough compared to the rocks around it. Very technical area. Current standings in the men's 16. As I said before, one of the very competitive classes here today and will be for the rest of the week. Matthew Layton in a time of 36.59 is the current leader there. He's got a 2-minute 35 lead over Alex Van Sella. Oscar Burns from New Zealand is now down in 3rd place. Alton Freeman back into 4th. Harley Brennan down into 5th, and Edward Rapley from Tasmania currently in 6th position. But there are, and looking at my list, some of the more favoured runners. Some of them are in the bottom half of the field there. One of the very, very good volunteers we've had in the last few days, Graham Dawson, finishing there in the men's in his class, and Graham's been a great help. Men's 68 class running into 12th. He's been a great help over the last yesterday and this morning. It's good to see Josh Blatchford back in orienteering. He's coming down into the finish in the men's 21A. First time I've seen Josh orienteering for a while. It's good to have him back. 47.01, so he'll run a time at just under 48 minutes. And we have our first finisher in the men's 18A class, Finn Van Gulen, in a time of 41.17. Not quite as competitive as the 16s, but still a very large field in the 18s. And Finn was obviously one of the early starters. Hillary, are you around? Could you come back over to the commentary, please? Men's 14A class also won a very competitive class this week because we've got so many school representatives here. Hayden Dent just finishing there in a time of 28.54. That puts him in front of his ACT teammate Michael Walter, and Baxter Peel is currently in 3rd in that class. That's a very good time. So we'll just see if that's going to be the fastest time for the men's 14A class today. And Ben Mansell finishing there, another ACT school representative, from Bushflyers into running himself into third place. And we have Jeff Lawford coming down the finish. He's just about to punch the last control, the finish control, sorry. Jeff's time will be no doubt very good, 31.08. Whoa, very, very good, 1:08. Malcolm Roberts from Newcastle in a time of 37.25, second place currently, but 6 minutes 17 down on Jeff. Jan Candy in the women's 75A class just coming down into the finish. She'll run into first place in her class. Gail Quantock finishing there. So Jan's time of 40.28, closely followed by Janet Fletcher in a time of 42.35. So those two ladies finishing very close together, both from Western Australia. We have a top three finisher coming down into the finish in the men's 50A, Jonathan McComb. Looks like he's going to run into third place in that class. At the last control, he had a time 39.29. All right, for those who have finished their course, we have a lot of action for you to keep you interested in the arena. Just behind the commentary tent here, we have the start ramp for the elites, and they are now actually going out on their course. They have a different start to everybody else, and they will run down the valley just behind the commentary, and you'll be able to, you can come start. We will have video of them starting hopefully soon on the screen, and we've also got a spectator control on the two boulders over here in the northwest corner of the arena. We will have tracking on the 10 runners in each of the elite classes, and we hope to keep you in the arena with the coffee and the food and to watch the big screen and to watch the excitement of watching the elites running around. So we've got the first few going down. I can see one up on the platform over here. Another idea of the course setter, Steve Craig. His idea was to put even more pressure on these elites than they're already under, and have them starting at the back of the arena on a platform. And they also have a map change, which is hard to believe on a map like this. It's about 20 square K, but there is some fantastic terrain out there, and they will be running some of it in twice in different directions. So this is a little bit of extra pressure. They've also got to change their map halfway through, or roughly halfway through their course, after they punch the spectator control just over here to my right. At the moment it looks like we've only got one starter, but when it warms up a bit we'll have two. The idea is that they start alternate minutes, so two will start every minute, and there are 4 classes: the men's senior elite and women's senior elite and the men's junior elite and the women's junior elite. And we will be able to give you information as to when they're coming to the spectator control. We've got a warning for the spectator control and also for the last control. And for the men's 21E and the women's 21E, we've got a running camera out there, courtesy of James Robinson, who's already been out on the course. He's going to be following the runners for part of their course with a video camera, and we should be able to show that on the screen as well. I've just received more bad news. There is a problem with the fibre optic cable, and we may not have a running camera. Unfortunately, TOEF yesterday was rolling out 2 kilometres of fibre optic cable down to where the running camera will be located, and he put too much tension on one of the cables and it actually broke a very costly thing to happen at this point in time. But regardless of whether we have the running camera or not, I know a lot of time and effort's gone into planning this, so it'll be great disappointment, but there's nothing we can do about it. There's enough other action. The thing I haven't mentioned so far is the hot seat. We've got 3 bales of hay down near the big screen on a platform, and the current leader in each of the elite classes is going to be asked very politely, and we're going to be very insistent that the current leader actually goes and sits in the hot seat. We're going to provide them with a few lollies and a bit of water, and when someone comes in a faster time, they will be replaced on the hot seat. And we're going to have Warren Key down there to do some interviews of these athletes, to ask them how their run's been. So there will be a lot of action in the arena over the next hour and a half to 2 hours. So again, encourage you to stay. We've planned this deliberately to be like this, so you would stay after your run and enjoy watching some of the action that you get used to when you go orienteering overseas in Europe at the big events.
Out of breath, mate.
There you go.
Well done.
you've set up the arena absolutely beautifully. It's I love it. The atmosphere here is fantastic. The elite are just starting. They're over there on the stand. I can see them. So what is the plan? How does it all work?
So they got quarantine, and then they leave there 5 minutes before they start. Come up here to start the round. Head off with their first step, and there's a spectator running back to them. So they take the new back.
We just need somebody starting right now. Which I knew all the names. I think that's the one that so the round down at the triangle just somewhere down there, I think, and straight into the forest. Then they'll come back to this ball, right? The midpoint, and then around the last loop of the course to the finish as we all hit. So looks great. It's going to be super technical as we experienced. Philosophically, are you a sort of man that goes after the heart of the navigator, the heart of the runner? Are you clustering? What is that? What is your go-to? My experience were that you set us up for a couple of shorties, then a long one, then some angle across the hillside. It was a good mix. I really enjoyed my course. I didn't realise you were the course setter because I hadn't read any information. And I think to myself, good course having fun out here. And so no wonder, well done. I reckon it'll be whoever wins today will be the genuine champion.
Yeah, that's the plan. We try to make it as local as possible.
Congratulations on the setup. It's coming down from the car park, great atmosphere, great spot. It felt like we're coming to something special the first day. It is really good. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And more to come later in the week.
Can I just ask for a couple of inside tips before you go, Steve? Because it's always fun to talk about who might and will. So we start with the 21 men's 21 elite. I know the field. And 20 elite, the girls, the last one.
Get out of the shot.
Can I put a call out for Hillary? If you're around, could you come over to the commentary, please? Hillary? Just to go back to some of the other classes, Dave Middleton is finishing in third place in the men's 75A class. Paul Hoopman is still leading that, one of the first starters. He set a very fast time. Tim Hatley in second in that class. Dave finishing there in a time of 41.54. And We have a new leader in the women's 18A class, Nika Raywood from New Zealand, in a time of 39.02. 29.02 there, a very competitive time by Nika in the women's 18A. Rebecca Craig finishing there in second place in a time of 39.16. I don't know where. I don't know. What?
Has been running in World Cups this year in Europe, and quite a big event. I know she was at the Swedish 5 days as well. A couple of down at the Jaywalk. He's part of the group who run the show. She brings reason and common sense to the group. About to start now. Theme song about Go Cockies. Shannon, part of a dynasty of strong Orienteers from the Jones and from the Blewett side. She running W21 Elite, and my fairness, I think she'd be half a chance. Just puts her protective glasses on. Looking at her shoes, looks like she's wearing rubber soled shoes. No spikes. You got a bit of a chip on. Glasses off straight away. Alright, next on the start, number 37, Jet McCoon running 20 Elite, and Cassie Reinbot, Jet from Tasmania / Finland, by the look at that shirt. Cassie's definitely from Queensland. Number 164, Jet 275, Cassie, they're both running the 20 Elite. Race is wide open today. Technical terrain. Been waiting to run through for a while. Played into it. With the last down the start. There you go.
Go, Cassie.
Cassie's gone for the short socks. Carries the map in the right hand. Probably a right-hander. Usual 92 rule, about 9% left-handed map carrying, 10% right-handed. There's a good reason for that.
What a punch! Hey, good job, mate. Is that fun?
Did you just complete your first Australian Championships?
William Barr from Queensland and Lee Barber from New South Wales. Off they go. Fast start. Holding in the map. Interesting to watch actually. If you look, you can see how they hold the map. Some people hold in squares. They like to be organised. Other people hold down the line of the control. You can see that from the start as they run out what their strategy is. First New Zealander, Brianna Stevens, W20 Elite, 21 Elite, New Zealand representative over the years, very good orienteer. May be challenged by the granite, the Australian granite, but lots of experience. Number 106.
So Warren, I can tell you that very shortly we're expecting the first female to come to the technical control. We have a pre-warning for that, so we'll let you know when that happens. It's not too far away. The first loop will make us a little bit shorter than the second.
No, no, it's all. No, don't worry. Sorry.
So we've got Torren Arthur, Victorian, men's 20 elite, and Eve Rothery, W20 Elite. Torrens almost made the Jaywalk team. I think Eve is a bit of a chance in the future for the Jaywalk team. Torrens an extremely good navigator. Next on the start is Michaela Gray from Queensland. Michaela's still a junior, but she's running up to 21 Elite this year. She's been through the whole Jaywalk process and ran some unbelievably fantastic races even through the COVID times. She went to the one in Portugal twice because they had a total fire ban during the first of the Jaywalks, so there was no forest orienteering, so went back again a couple months later for the forest version of it. She's away. We are almost in Queensland. If you come from Victoria, it felt like we're driving to Queensland. So she's in her home terrain. Next is Remy Afnan from South Australia and Tara Powell, but I can't see Tara. The normal, but it's important that the elite get challenged with a little bit extra distance. The normal winning time at the international level is about 30-35. So the typical Australian's going to run 35 to 40, so hence the reason it's a little bit longer today.
So we have a few more through the spectator control. We've got Shannon Jones. She's in second place behind Renee Beveridge, but 5 minutes 54 down. So that time of Renee Beveridge, I think Renee was the first starter in that class, or one of the first starters, and she's got a very substantial lead at the spectator control. So we hope to get some tracking up maybe, and we'll see what's going on. Amelia Horn and Juliette Piqueur are at the spectator control.
And just starting is Eddie Swain and Zali McComb, both running 20 Elite.
As long as I can read it.
It's chaos down there, Nick.
Yeah, well, it's
Burke Street.
Well, the best place to be will be on the top of the hill. You can see the big screen. We got the tracking up now, I believe. You can go and see the map. You might have to go down the closer, so you're going to have to choose between watching the start and watching the tracking on the map. We'll have running camera also up there on the big screen. I'm not too sure. I can't see my screen at the moment, but there is a map up there on the big screen and there is tracking happening. It looks like it's live from me where my eyesight is, so you might want to go down closely and see that. There will, of course, be able to be replays of this tracking later when you go back to your accommodation out of the wind and put your feet up and have a shower and watch the tracking.
12:02, Hamish Prosser, son of Ian Prosser, one of my nemesis in the oldies group. That old bugger. Hamish been a very good bike rider and a stalwart in orienteering. Keeps at it, gets better all the time. Running 21 Elite, so a bit of a challenge out there for him today. Next on the start line is Elvin Craig and Gemma Burley, both in the 20 Elite. Elvin ran his first Jaywalk this year after a lot of promise and delivered the goods. A top 20, if I recall, 23rd, I think, in the Jaywalk sprint, which sounds sort of pretty good. Unless you're there, then you realise getting that sort of number is just outrageously good. And so Elvin spent a lot of time in Sweden before the races in preparation. They're about to start, so they're the 12:03 starters.
Oh, okay. I'll get Warren to read it out. Warren, we've now got the New Zealand team here, so we might read them out.
So in the men's 20E, for New Zealand, we've got Sam Carrier. I apologise if I don't quite get these names pronounced correctly. Jake McClellan and Eddie McSwain. And they're up against the men's Australian team of Sam Wolford, Elvin Gray, who just started, and Owen Ratajewski, who also just started. So the M20 team is Australian teams at full strength just about. I'd say almost. Oscar's unwell, so I know he pulled out, so full strength. And that's a genuinely good New Zealand team. So the M20 should be a great competition, Nick.
Yeah, we got Michaela Cooper coming into the spectator control. I think she will be in second place. Oh, a small error there. They've all gone to a boulder, of which there are many, but it looks like it could have been the wrong one. So we'll have a new second place, maybe. We'll just wait and see, yes. 117 down on Renee Beveridge at the spectator control for Michaela. Amelia Horn in 8th place, Rebecca George in 5th, Michaela Gray coming through there in 3rd. So it's Renee Beveridge, Michaela Cooper and Michaela Gray, the top 3 at this stage in the women's elite. We've got Brianna Stephen from New Zealand coming down to the spectator control. There's some interesting happenings up there because we can see them running all over the place.
Nick, there's Sam Carrier from New Zealand just heading off right now, so M20E runner, and Kate Braid. So he's, I think, the first of New Zealanders I've seen start in that age group.
You'd have to call this a train, I think. We've got Torrin Arthur coming in. We've got Louise Barber. Torrin is in 4th place at the spectator. Remy Afnan there in 2nd place, 55 seconds down on Jet McComb in the men's junior elite. And Torrin is in 4th place in that class at the spectator control. But it would be interesting because they're very close together, those boys. We'll wait and see.
12.06 starter, M21E is Jensen Key. I know him well. Turns out he's a good kid. He's the only good kid in our family. The other two I'm not so sure about. He did a bit of driving yesterday on the way up, our 14-hour driving journey. So Jensen's off right now. And he's fashioning the traditional old-school O-pants, which is apparently coming back in. If you wait long enough, the fashion comes back to you. Carrying his map in the right hand, his right-handed catcher, right-handed cricketer, right-handed hockey player, right-handed map carrier.
So we've had the train go through, so it'll be interesting to see if that train in the men's junior elite stays together. Ephry Roffery at the pre-warning for the spectator control. She will run herself into 2nd place. She'll be at the spectator control very, very shortly.
Good start right now, 12.07. Cooper Hawley and Leanna Stubbs. Cooper from New South Wales, Leanna from Tasmania. Cooper's a primo jaywalk elite, junior elite runner. Was unwell this season in the lead up. And stepped aside so Jamie Woodford could run while we're over there. Leanna, I think, would be aspiring to make the jaywalk this year. Cooper's specialty is the sprint, and I think it's fair to say that Leanna's is probably the forest, so it'll be interesting how those two go at the end of this race, Nick.
Yep. He's done very well for someone who's only been orienteering for maybe 3, maybe 4 years. Exceptional performances overseas this year. So we've got Ephry Roffery there in 2nd place, behind Katie Reenbod from... He's in 1st place. Ethery's 2 minutes and 43 seconds down at the spectator.
Next person on the start line, 12.08, is Nick Smith, 21 elite. We're starting to get into the deeper part of the field now. And I think Nick would probably be our fastest starter by the looks of it. And just looking at his map, twice in the way down to the start there, so...
If you really want to watch all the action warming up, you might need to go and get a coffee and something from Faux Plus in the next 10 or 15 minutes, because the big boys will be starting soon in the men's 21E class. The New Zealanders versus the Australians.
The field for the women's 20E from New Zealand for the challengers: Tita Fave, Juliet Freeman and Phoebe Hunt.
Ooh.
That's a pretty good lineup.
Can I just interrupt for a minute, because we've got Georgia Lindros coming to the spectator control, and she looks like she's going to take the lead in the women's 20E, and she's not in their team. Wow.
Whoa. And the women's 20E is Nia Shingler, Erica Enderby and Milliken. So that's going to be a very good competition as well.
So Georgia should be here at the spectator control any seconds now. She punched the pre-warning. Maggie Mackay is not too far behind her. And if she comes through she'll take the lead at the spectator control.
This pressure, Nick, at the start, the commentary that they can hear out in the forest.
Yep.
This the common control here at the arena changeover, the map change.
And there we have her, the leader in the women's 20E at the spectator control, Georgia Lindros from New Zealand.
On the start line now at 12:10 is Mark Lomas in 21 Elite. Mark.
Sorry. How good's this? I've now got a screen in front of me with a map on it. Oh, yes. Grant Reenbot will be at the spectator control very shortly in the men's 21E class, and Nick Stanley is not far behind him. Grant will run himself into second place in the men's 21E class. We've got some great video here. It's on the big screen. Tash Key, I think that is, walking up the hill to a big boulder. Well, reasonably sized boulder. Rock face. Taken off. And she is now appearing at the spectator control. And so is Oscar Miller, I do believe. And Tash Key is currently in 6th place. Oscar Miller's time didn't come up. Seth Sweeney in 13th, Nick Stanley in 4th there at the spectator control, but no time for Oscar Miller. Has been known to use the wrong SOS stick.
Here comes Tash now, Nick.
Yeah, so we're getting video from just before, I think, the pre-warning for the spectator control. So we had Tash on the big screen, and now we've got her at the spectator control. 6 minutes 40 down on the current leader, Renee Beveridge, and I'm going to have to keep an eye on this because I think Renee Beveridge has actually, I'll have to work all this out. Yeah, Renee Beveridge is actually finished. So Renee's finished in a time of 47.42, and she's still the leader at the spectator control. So that is interesting because that's a little time is a bit outside what the expected winning time will be, but nevertheless she is still the leader in the women's 21E at the spectator control, and she's the first in the finish in a time of 47.42.
So we have a little gap at the start here of a minute before the next one at 12:14, which will be Casimir Gregory in 21 Elite. We're at 12:14 and the starts go through to 12:50. So at some point, our interest will move across from the starting and changeover spots to the finishing area. But right now, there's quite a lot of competitors still to come, and in lots of ways, the winner probably coming from the next group that will coming through. So it should be exciting. It's interesting to see what's going on here. The grouping. I really just said to Steve as he walked past, of course, there was Steve Craig, how good this really is, because we're getting some vision of what happens in orienteering at an international level. The exposure that the kids and the runners, the athletes are feeling right now and the anxiety and the pressure is a really good thing. It's part of the game, and it's a foreign part of the game for most of us. So it's great that we're here and watching them and seeing it unfold. These people put in hours and days and weeks and months and years.
Whoa, Warren, we are watching some non-map reading orienteers up here. I have a funny feeling they're not really going for that control. But we should have a new fastest time in the men's 20E shortly. Jamie Wolford is expected at the spectator control. And I do now believe he's on the right path to find the spectator control. He will take the current lead at the spectator control over Jet McComb in a time of 19:26. Interesting. The course setter was here just a minute ago, but it's very interesting how there are some small errors being made between the pre-warning and the spectator control. Ella Hogg will shortly be at the spectator control. She's currently in 4th place. Juliet Freeman will also be there, and she's running herself into 2nd place at the spectator control. And just behind that will be Anna Sheldon in the women's, and we've got Grace Crane at the pre-warning for the spectator control. And I can see Grace running down past that boulder up there, and her time is 5 minutes and 32 down on the time of Renee Beveridge. And we've got Renee in the finish, and which reminds me, if Renee's around, we really do want you to go and sit in the hot seat down there. We're going to provide you with a few lollies and a bit of water. But we'd appreciate it, Renee, if you're here in the arena somewhere, could you go and sit in your hot seat? Do you know? Forgot about that. It's too much action.
Grace Crane's just coming through the spectator area, doing a map change now. Remember, Grace Crane's considered one of the genuine favourites running for the Australian team. Seemed pretty calm as she went through there. A group of people in front of her, so it makes it a little bit nicer to just look up and see the right way out. There has been some problems around this spectator control, Nick. It's intimidation.
Yeah. Maybe it's the pressure of the atmosphere in the arena, which is exactly why it's been designed this way. And look at the course set. He's got a big grin on his face. Pressure. Oh, we have a new leader in the men's 20E class at the spectator control. I can't even see the spectator control anymore. There's so many people over there, but it's going to be Owen Radajewski. And he will take the lead, but in the front of him is Ewan Bess from Tasmania. And Ewan is currently 32 seconds down on Jamie Wolford. But that time is not going to last for too long, because not too far behind him, and this is him now, it's Owen Radajewski, and he's going to take the lead at the spectator control. So Owen's time has just come up as 18:29, so he's taken the lead over Jamie Wolford and Ewan Best at the spectator. Not too far behind him is Blake Reinbott in the men's 21E. He'll run himself into 3rd at the spectator control. Yeah, you got to go down. So I got one. All right, we've got our first person in the hot seat. Renee Beveridge will be sitting down there next to the big screen on the hay bales, given some lollies and a bit of water, and she'll stay there. I have a funny feeling, Warren, that she could be staying there right till the end of the women's 21E class.
Wow.
Because there's no one up on the screen here who's anywhere near her at the spectator control. Is it working?
She's both a good runner and a good navigator with lots of experience.
Sorry, go. Toph, our microphone's just died. If you're around, so it's a bit of the calm before the storm here. We're waiting. We've got some women's 20Es out, and we've got men's 20E on the second loop. We will get some radios for them, but we've also got some tracking up on the screen down there, which I can see in front of me. I can see Shannon Jones on the tracking, Natasha Key, Ainsley Prendergast, Brianna Stevens, Serena Doyle, Michaela Gray, Michaela Cooper, and it looks to me like Shannon, who I think was not too... She's held on to that lead over Michaela Cooper and Michaela Gray. It looks to me like Shannon's running strongly towards control 17.
We have Phoebe Hunt on the start line from New Zealand. She's in the New Zealand team for W20. I think the last of the New Zealand runners to start.
At the spectator, we've got Michaela Enderby. Michaela Enderby in third place, 1 minute 23 down. We have a new leader coming into, or he's just gone out of the spectator control, Alvin Craig, actually the son of the course setter. Alvin represented Australia this year at JWOC, and he's taken the lead over Owen Radajewski in a time of 17:56. Eddie Swain through the spectator in fourth in the men's 20E class.
It's no surprise from Melbourne, extremely good navigator, lots of experience. The more technical, the better he does, it's no question. David Stocks, running 21 Elite, first year, always a big step up, wearing the new Australian gear. It's the new Australian O-suit that he's got on, so looks the part, that's for sure. Also on the start line right now, so 12:23 is Milwaukee, she's wearing the new gear. The interesting thing at the WOC and JWOC was that they were forbidden to exchange their clothing, Nick. So normal thing is you do a bit of clothing swap with, but it's they've decided to prize the outfit and not give it away.
Can I just interrupt, Warren? We've got a new leader coming into the spectator control in the women's 20E class, Kate Braid.
Ooh.
Kate Braid at the pre-warning was 16:53. That puts her 10 seconds at the pre-warning in front of Georgia Lindros from New Zealand.
And there goes Miller.
Another key. So we're waiting for...
Kate's just picked up her map now and heading down the support chute.
So that's the leader in the women's 20E at the spectator control. Zali McComb, not too far behind her. She's down 5 minutes 15 down in 8th place at the spectator control. Selwyn Sweeney's gone through in the men's 21E in 6th place, and Andrew Smith's gone through in 5th place in the men's 21E.
Leith Soden's on the start line. Slim down with the racing singlet, shorts, I think short socks. Leith is getting closer and closer and closer to the premium end of the elite field. It's his first year out as a junior from juniors, so it's a big step up, and he's making that step. So I'd like to think that he's going to do quite well today, Nick, and we can see him on the big screen as he heads off into the distance. Hard to tell, but that's probably 4.5 minute Ks. He's actually physically running, reading the map, running through the forest. Very impressive.
Liana Stubbs from Tassie Foresters currently into 3rd place at the spectator control. It's getting very close there in the women's 20E. We've got 3 runners there within about 25 seconds of each other at the spectator control.
Just saw Jet McComb finish in the M20E. Jet was leading early on, and I can see Leanna at the last control.
And we've got Oscar Brown also in the finish in the men's 20E class. So could we have the leader of the men's 20E take their hot seat, please? Hillary, if you're down there, need to organise who the current leader in the men's 20E, and it's just disappeared off my screen, so I can't tell you who it is. Chase them up the finisher, drag them back.
Ben Schultz is on the start line at 12:26. Ben's running from Queensland, of course, and running M21 Elite. Looks like he's got his hair tied back. Getting that last nervous twitch from one side to the other. And he's away.
Okay, I think we need Eric Lovell. Eric Lovell, I think we need you in the hot seat. Men's 20E. If you're down there, I'd like you on the hot seat, please. Cooper Hawley at the spectator control in 4th place, 134 down on Alvin Craig in the junior boys. And some great video footage from the running camera.
We've got Erica Enderby, 12:27 starter, women's 20 elite. Erica was one of our best performers in the forest of Jaywalk this year. She's in the new Australian O suit. She's part of the Australian team for this challenge against New Zealand, and she's only seconds away from starting.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't. Warren's going to go down and focus on the hot seat and interviewing the current leaders in the class. Currently, we should have Renee Beveridge down there as the current leader in the women's 21E, and we should have Eric Lovell down there as the current leader, I believe, in the men's 20E class.
Just walking down here, sun looking at the big screen. Nick, it's pretty hot down here. It's a little bit out of the wind, sun's shining, screen's on. Winners are beaming against the left behind. It's a good spot there. Perhaps get a coffee. It's my advice.
And we have a new... Oh, I better fix my mic up. We have a new fastest time at the spectator control in the men's junior elite class. It's a Sam Wolford from New South Wales. He's taken the lead over Alvin Craig by 1 minute and 7 seconds at the spectator control.
Well, Nick, that was our course-setter's tip. I think it's a one. Let's see.
He tipped him over his own son. That's good. Nick Smith in the men's 21E, one of the more favoured New Zealanders, has gone through the spectator control in a time of 1937.
Just interrupt when you have to. I've got Renee Beveridge all the way from Auckland, New Zealand here. Renee, you're a hot bio. You obviously had a good run.
Yeah, it was a pretty clean run. I was really happy with it. I haven't competed in Australia, but it's awesome to be back, and I love the difference of terrain compared to what I'm used to in Woodhall Forest in Auckland, and it's always just a really good event.
New Zealand, but you have tricky terrain to multiply goes on. Those sand dunes, did you?
Yeah, pretty straight. Straight as what I thought I was going to be. But I think the toughest bit was trying to figure out how crappy the really rocky areas were going to be. Sometimes on the map it was just like big boulder, big cliff, but when you looked up it was actually really scrappy and a lot more boulders, and I was trying to go straight or go round, but I think I went pretty straight.
Well done. Up your sleeve, what do you think?
I actually have no idea. I saw Anna Sheldon out there in Aslan as well, and I thought actually they'd caught me up because I didn't know when they had started. But I guess maybe they were on the first leap, but I don't know. I don't want to jinx myself, Warren.
Nice to be up here. Isn't it not in the bush in Australia?
Oh, it absolutely is. It's good to be.
You're welcome back and well done. Fingers crossed.
What's this crappy rock? I don't know. Okay, we've got a new fastest time in the women's 20E at the spectator control. Tita Fauvet has gone through in a fantastic time of 14:36 to take a very clear lead in the women's 20E class.
Apparently, if you put it about...
So we're waiting now for some of the other finishes in the women's senior elite. They should be very close to the finish. People like Shannon Jones and Michaela Cooper. And in terms of the starts, we are up to Nia Shingler, should have just started. And then we're into some serious senior elites. Matt Doyle making a bit of a comeback. He'll start at 12:36. Ethan Penk, Ryan Gray, Paul de Jong, Julian Dent, Felix Hunt, and then Ewan Shingler, the last starter.
Yep. I've got Jet McComb from Finland. Well, question has to be Jet. Who did you jet with?
I bought it.
All right. Wow. Going to have to make a team to do a bit of swapping. Obviously, it worked for you today. You're on the dice.
Yeah, it was good. It was clean. Wasn't too hard. But yeah, definitely, I reckon there's some good competition still out there. So.
If you had to thank one, is it more like you're going to thank your dad or your mum? Both of them are in tears.
Oh, I'll give it to both of them.
Safe decision. So, anything like Tasmanian terrain at all?
Not really. It was really visible out there, so you could see far away, but there was some gullies.
Sorry?
So we're doing our best up here, but if you can't hear us, just yell out because it's hard to hear and talk at the same time. So Jet was just that he thought his mum was more the helper than his dad. I think that's what you said. And you traded that shirt with the Finnish world champion is what I heard. So, and rightfully so. And the terrain is nothing like, apparently a little bit nicer than this. No, it was very nice out there today. Mistakes, did you make any?
I won at the map flip. I've never been more confused in my life, but other than that, it was pretty clean.
Apart from this terrain, what's your next most terrain?
Yeah, Finland.
Lucky to travel. Well done in that hot seat. You're still there. Who knows what's for sure that you're there right now. So good luck to you too.
We've had Rachel Allen finish in the women's 21E in a time of 66.53, and Michaela Gray into second place in a time of 51.22. So Renee, you're going to have to stay on the hot seat for a while. And in terms of the men's 21, Kane Cambridge has gone through the spectator, so's Casimir Gregory, Oliver Egan. Oliver's in third place behind Toby Lang and James Robinson. I don't think that's right. So Oliver might be in second place. Toby Lang at the spectator control right now into second place in the men's 21E. But I think that by my calculations that's going to be the fastest time actually, because James's time's there, but he ran really early. So a time of 15.53 there for Toby Lang. So he's on a really good run, but we've got a few of the fast men to come. Matt Doyle should be on the podium right now, I think. Yep. Old age, have to put your glasses on.
So it looks like we've got Matty Doyle on the start right now. I don't want to say it, but I think he'd be one of my favourites today, Nick. He's an older, more experienced orienteer. I don't think he'd like me saying that. Extremely efficient technically. His fitness looks good. He's wearing these trademark singlet to show off the upper body there. And off he goes. He once sat in the hot seat of the World Championships. I think it was Latvia, for about an hour, which at a World Championship level is like, you know, a career highlight for anybody. But that would be one of his career highlights for sure. And for a while there, it didn't look like he was going to get overtaken at all. So, so Matt's my smoky, Nick.
I think we have the hot seat position in the women's 20E. Phoebe Hunt. I'm not sure that's... No, that's not the last. No. Sorry, I'll withdraw that comment.
You can see on the screen now David Stocks coming through the TV control. Just dropping it's the spectator control, of course, just dropping his map and heading off. Quite a while before he's actually, now he's really looking at that map. It must be fairly obvious. One glance only. Now again. Yep, he must be a relatively straightforward leg based on that. We've got Duncan Curry up on the start line. Duncan's running 21 elite. Duncan's probably more of a sprint specialist, but improving all the time in the forest. He's part of a consortium of Brains Trust. I don't want to give away too much here, but at the WOC Sprint this year, we grouped together some highly analytical minds looking for ways that we can improve Australian elite orienteering at the highest level at Sprint with creating more data. I've got a man that loves his data right next to me here, Benny Rattray. Data is the new way of improving orienteering, and sprint orienteering is the domain that we're focusing on. And over the next year, hopefully we come up with a few little 1%ers that make the difference, that difference that takes the team from 15th to 10th, from a 25th spot to a 10th spot.
And we have a new leader at the women's 20E class at the Spectators. I think we've missed her, but she's currently leading. It's Miller Key in a time of 14:23. And also David Stocks has gone through the Spectator control in the men's 21E in a time of 14:32. So that's set the time that the rest of the field need to get close to. Phoebe Hunt in second place there in the women's 20E class, 1 minute and 5 down on Miller.
I know a bit about Miller's preparation. She was shearing sheep a couple of days ago up on Tasha's farm or family farm up in Mildura. Well, she wasn't she wasn't shearing because they get $5 a sheep. They do about 150 a day. So I'd know about it if she was, but she was cleaning up the work area, whatever they call that. Team of people everywhere.
And Leaf Soden's just gone through the Spectator in second place, 29 seconds down on David Stocks' time at the Spectator in the men's 21E. But we've got Matt Doyle's gone out. We should be now up to, I think, looking at it, Duncan Curry has just gone. Ethan Pink should be the next starter.
He is the next starter, Nick, and he's just started now. Baseball cap facing forward. Very fit young man and running away very quickly. Watch out for him.
So that leaves Ryan Gray, Paul de Jong, Julian Dent, Felix Hunt, Ewan Shingler. They're the only people who are still waiting to start to run out onto this fantastic middle distance arena and area full of rock that's not really that crappy.
No, it definitely wasn't. It was very pleasant. That a few spots, but very rarely do you come across as nice a ground as this. Undulating, not too many spots where you felt like it's dangerous and technically very challenging. Great fun for sure.
I'm going to hand over to Ben Rattray now. Ben's kindly volunteered to do some commentary, so I'll leave Ben and Warren to do the rest of the commentary for me.
Welcome, Ben. Thank goodness we got rid of Nick.
Thanks, Woz. And the map scale was that I was running on was 1 to 7.5, and no wonder I was getting so confused out there today.
Well, if you pace count like you do, Benny,
Exactly.
Wow. Was it 1 to 7,500?
I was getting trouble when I got to the 700s in my pace counts too. So.
Did you count every second step, of course, or was it every fourth step?
No. Second step. Well, it's just the right foot, so that's the good side. So I just count that one.
Ryan Gray's on the start line now. First or second year out of 20s and into 21s. About to get off the line, Benny.
So that's the 5th last starter too. So we're definitely at the hot end. Last few starters. It's always nice when you get away and you've got a nice clean run to start with, but it changes out there, as everyone will be familiar with.
We still have the same hot seaters as before. Renee and Jeff. On the screen right now is a Canberra Cockatoo, or is that a Australian runner? No, that's that F.
That's an Australian runner, I'm pretty sure that was.
Oh, that could be Nia, is it?
It looks like a shingler to me.
Yes.
From the shingler stable.
Oh, some concern.
Yeah,
Let's see what she does as she punches the control. No, not her control.
Oh, I think it was. I think she waved it on. Or she's going to come through now. You can see she's running down the hill now. She's not looking too confident there, I would say, was.
So she was lured into the finish control rather than the map exchange control. Easy one to fall for. Picks up her map now. Folds.
Very solid runner, of course. We had her in the lab in Canberra on the treadmill. measuring her VO2 max and stuff a little while ago, producing some good numbers in terms of her ability to use oxygen and keep running fast for a long time.
That data collection, Benny, that's something that that Orienteering's just starting to get into a bit more. Obviously, the VO2 has been around for a long time and highly rated in terms of its importance. But the data, this data, there's so much in Orienteering, so much to this.
Yeah, there was. I think Orienteering's really suffered for a long time. Like, even if you take a step back and just not really engaging with coaching as much as it could, and a lot of people trying to do things independently and not take advantage of coaches and have systematic approaches. It's easy to do the running, of course. It's easy to sort out the physical training. But clearly Orienteering is much more than that, and so we can definitely spend a lot more time looking at maps, analysing routes, and as you would know, we did some cognitive testing last year with some of the Australian runners, and we had Aston. We were fortunate enough to do Aston. He didn't do any of the physical stuff, unfortunately, but we just did some cognitive testing with him. And that was phenomenal. I've never seen anything like what we saw from Aston, and I think there's just so much space to develop orienteering talent in that area.
It was no coincidence we're at the now almost defunct AIS, but that was for the 80s in the Australian Olympic Committee. That was the future, and they brought to the table stuff that hadn't been thought of before. And what Brenny was helping us with was analysing those sorts of things. I was just a bystander looking from the side. It was organised by the High Performance Group, and the whole thing of the data. Oh, sorry, I interrupt. There goes Julian Dent, and there's our favourite from the course setter, and Nick's son, obviously, still in terrific shape, a genuine star in his era, and. This middle distance, I know from when you get older myself, these middle distances become more and more valuable. I wouldn't like to back against him today.
No, I'm with you completely. He's still in form. He's come back from Sweden not too long ago, actually, just racing over there and picking up some prize money again. So taking the kids over as well. There's going to be another stable coming through. I just want to point out, even though Nia Schingler, like, she came through that control quite casually and didn't look superbly confident, but she's more than a minute ahead of anyone else in the women's 20 elite at that time point.
Can you ask it? Pro in the junior women, there a minute or two lead after just 12 minutes is spectacular. She's getting better all the time.
Yeah, she's amazing. I always watch her run, and it just doesn't look like she's trying was, but clearly she's moving pretty well out there. That's a sign of a true athlete, though, when it doesn't look like they're trying and they're moving so quick.
It just makes me think of Mark Waugh and how he played his cricket, but yeah, she's certainly got that, as does her brother Ewan, who will be on the start line soon. I think that's Felix Hunt on the start line right now.
Second last starter for today. He will be trying to run down Julian.
He's still a junior, but he's running 21 elites. And like all other New Zealanders, running in a shorts and short socks.
So we've got Owen coming in and Ewan behind him. And that'll be...
Two young men, we're looking at the future of Australian orienteering, or part of the future for sure. There's a depth of talent that's in that grade that's very impressive. Both of them are very good athletes and learning the art, the skills of navigating. Both of them I know have been coached by orienteers, so navigating coach, not just running coach, as we talked. It's a big picture stuff, but unless you can navigate, this game's a mystery forever.
Yeah, and so Owen came through in 6th place. So he's run 48 minutes. He's a bit down on... Or Jamie Wolford's looking at like one of the quickest out there. Rob Preston's just gone through, so one of the very solid navigators. He's come through in 8th fastest so far. Ben Schultz was in front of him a bit further, another older cohort within the 21 elites in 7th place.
We have Nia's older brother Ewan on the start. He's the last of the starters. Fresh off World Champs and World University Championships. Can we just call on Jamie Wolford to jump over when he's got a warm jacket on down to the hot seat, please? He's the current leader in 20E, and there goes Ewan now. Again, like his sister, looking very easy.
There's another runner that we had in the lab, impressive figures. Another runner that looks very easy in the forest, so we'll see how he copes with putting that navigation out there.
So Ben, here I have the winner of 21E, the hot seat sitter, and now the winner from New Zealand, Renee. Well done.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just was really happy. It was actually
Your top 3, were you hoping?
Yeah, I was hoping for a top 5. I'm feeling relatively fit after coming back from Europe, but because I hadn't orienteered in Australia and the terrain is so different, I was a bit apprehensive about, like you always can make mistakes, and sometimes when you make mistakes in Australia, you can really blow it because it's so vague in some areas and all the boulders look the same. So I was being pretty careful. It was a bit sketchy a few times out there, but I held it together.
Obviously you did, and well done. So I've got a much more important question. What's your brother doing? I know he's in Canada.
Actually, I think him and Emmy have just come back to New Zealand. I don't know what they're going to be doing in Auckland because there's no mountains for them to run up, but yeah, I actually haven't seen him since he got back. But it would be good to catch up with him and Emmy, and they can start orienteering again in New Zealand.
One final question. Congratulations, of course, you're the winner, and that's really well done and a great effort. You well and truly deserve it. Is it Sydney or Brisbane today? Grand final?
Sydney.
Football?
Sydney, yeah, Sydney.
Sydney it is then. Well done, Renee.
Thank you.
Thanks, Woz. As you were talking there, we saw Matt Doyle come through. He's went through the radio control, the spectator control, 10 seconds in the lead. So they're coming through there in around 13.5 minutes, and he is holding a 10-second lead over David Stocks at the moment. So
let's hope that Jamie's heard your call. If you haven't, please come down to the hot seat. We'd like to have a bit of a chat. You're in the lead of men's 20E, so Jamie Wolford, here's your moment.
Hot seats over there.
Notice a few runners gasping for breath out there. I noticed as we were driving in, we're over 1,000 metres. We're a kilometre above sea level here, so air's getting a bit thinner. It's a little tricky.
I'd like to think I've orienteered in most parts of the world. I've been here just once, and when I ran here, it was some sort of selection trial back before the change of the century. And I was the first starter, and it was snowing on the ground, Ben. So yes, it can be quite cold. We are quite high altitude. It made me feel like we're in Canberra.
Well, Canberra felt this cold, I can tell you, about 2 days ago as well. So, and we weren't too far away from snow.
Just to look at the splits at that radio control, 21E men's. Matty Doyle was in the lead, 14.27, 5 seconds in front of David Stocks, and another 30 seconds or so in front of Lee Soden. So we still have a couple guns to come through there in Julian, Felix, and Ewan, so that's still well and truly wide open. Then looking at the men's 20E. At the same place.
Oh, this is...
We have Sam Wolford.
That was at the spectator control, so he was leading through there and he was hanging on to the lead.
Well, it looks a little bit ambiguous there because the time shows him a little bit behind, so let's just hold back on that one. We have the, at the same point, the 20 elite in the women. We had Nia a minute and a half to Justine Hobson and then another 3/4 of a minute to Miller. So that's starting to look in place. We know that Renee won the women's 21E. So
that's through the radio control. I don't know, Woz, I'm lost. I think it's an age thing.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. So what we do know is that the tension is building because the next few moments we should be seeing those priority runners, the last starters in the M21E coming through the spectator control. And if they're like any of the other ones that come through here, they've erred and hit the last control rather than the spectator control. But you can be sure of one thing, that here every second counts. And so if they're making mistakes like that, then So we've just gone to some tracking. You can see it on the big screen. The one in the blue going between 5 and 6 is Felix Hunt. Julian Dent in the orange, or sorry, brown just in front of him. Is that the orange?
Yeah, and there's a pack of 3 runners just in front, and within that pack is Paul de Jong. And so you can see that Julian's already pulled a minute at least into Paul de Jong at that point, and they're picking up the other runners. So there's a bit of a pack there that Julian's probably going to benefit from in a minute, or
they could make a mistake. It's a tricky section through that next part, although a big strong gully to your right there is going to pull them in the clearing. I'm a little bit interested in the gap between Julian Dent and Felix Hunt. Julian's tail there is a minute long, and Felix is off the minute. So I'd say that's probably a 30 to 40 second spacing between those two in real time. And if you look to Ewan Chingler back further at control 4, he certainly he started 2 minutes behind Felix. So that gap's there, it's already there.
Well, Felix Hunt is I think I can see some flames on his tail. He's looking really fast. That's maybe why he's blue.
So the tail is 1 minute, so that means Felix is actually catching Julian.
Yeah, by nearly a minute at that stage. And it looked like Julian probably had a couple of little issues with the previous 2 controls. So my guess is that's where he's caught him up.
Well, the talk around the commentary is that the second loop is where the real race begins. And so this warm-up loop places them, but we're going to see where the winner comes from. So we're looking now at the finish area, and we have down there in the hot seat Jamie Wolford. Jamie ran the Jaywalk this year. It was the first reserve, or one of the reserves, and we happened to be in the Czech Republic at the time, so we got called in. We're just seeing on the screen now.
We just had a strong finish from Ella Hogg there as well, moving herself into second in the women's 20 elites.
Now remember that cluster of people together. That's Paul de Jong. And he's found that control.
There were 2 others with him moments ago.
Let's see if we can see them. He looks very clear cut with his decision making. We've had a few technical issues up here, so our screens disappeared with all the time, so we're just waiting. Here he is again. I think he must be close to, yes, there he's coming. He'll soon come into sight. So that cluster of 3 or 4 runners we saw before all together. There's Ryan Gray. and they are coming into the arena as we speak. And
Paul's had a bit of a flop there.
To Paul's and Ethan and Ryan passed.
So even though we've been talking about Julian catching Paul and Felix catching Julian, Paul's still coming fourth through the radio control,
Wow.
so he's on a good run still.
The map change. So that cluster of 3 or 4 together, so, they've sort of helped, but have they really helped? It's it's an artificial confidence when you're out there, when you're with somebody else, the answer must be with them. Whoa, Julian Dent has just come through in the lead on our splits in 13-17 ahead of Matt Doyle and then David Stocks. So Julian, remember, was just off the back, and here he comes now in the blue of New South Wales.
A different angle from everyone else.
Straight in.
He's run straight. Lo and behold, straight is great.
It is great. Always has been. He's picking up his map now. He's almost within sight of those runners, which would be an advantage or possibly a disadvantage if he just glimpses them. So there goes Julian, right behind him, Mason Arthur. So remember, Felix Hunt
looked like he was about to catch Julian. He was less than a minute behind just before. So
we haven't got the details here, but Felix Hunt in the forest before we had him on the GPS was within whisker. But he hasn't come into the radio control yet, so the pre-warning control, sorry. He hasn't got into the Felix, so he may have made a little mistake.
Yeah, but that's Julian's dad. He's just trying to draw our attention to it. He's trying to bias the commentary here. So
just going through the M21 pre-warning at this split.
Here he is. He's got it. Felix Hunt has just taken the lead. He's just taken. He's about 15 seconds ahead at this point.
It takes him about 30 seconds or so to come over the hill. Let's see if he goes to that.
Here we go. We can see him on the TV now. If you're looking over at the screens, you'll see him. He's working his way. He's about to appear over the top. I can see him.
He can see the arena.
He's gone straight as great too. There you go.
Hold on, there's still minutes in the sec. Oh. Straight to it. Straight to it. That's a very good sign. And he's about 20 seconds up on Julian.
And now we've got that second half, that much harder second half that we've been hearing from the organising team. I'm sure Felix didn't hear that on the commentary at all.
Well, that's part of the game. Well, it doesn't feel like it when we go normal weekend orienteering, but we're having a bit of a glance at the course now.
Ooh, it is harder on that second half, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So
that's the map I thought I had on the 1 to 10 scale. There you go.
Is that the, well, I think there's still a lot to go in this race. So just to recount there again, Felix in front of Julian by 10 or 20 seconds, in front of Matty Doyle by another 10 or 20 seconds. So here we have the map up, and we're seeing the women's 20E. Nia Shinga in the blue, Miller Key in the orange, Phoebe Hunt and Liana starts on the same screen there. Liana in the green and Phoebe in the pink.
So Leanna Stubbs is on a pretty good run too. She came third through this radio control. So Phoebe Hunt has just appeared through on one of our controls. She has taken the lead.
Ooh, another New Zealander. David Stocks just appearing on the screen now. David's well and truly in the hunt.
It's almost like these Kiwis have got rocks of their own back over there.
It's remarkable. They used to early on say they never had a chance in the Australian terrain because they don't have granite like this, Ben, but look at them now. Exposure to lots of terrains, improving general techniques, and they're away. So there's David coming into the finish. With the big kangaroo on the new shirt.
David was having a pretty good run. He was definitely looking to be in the well and truly in the top 10.
Well and truly.
So he's finished third. He's in third position at the moment.
Good run from David. He's, as we said earlier on, he's just stepping up to the 21E. It's a big ask. But these middle distances can often suit them. It's the long ones that really challenge. So well done to David.
I know he's third. He's first into the finish at the moment, so he's leading at the moment. He hasn't appeared in the top three of any of our previous warning times, so it'll be interesting to see how the others cope with the back end of the course, because it's better to be finished with a good run than still be out there.
Money in the bank, Benny, money in the bank. So we're back onto the big screen. We can see the course, which looks extremely technical. And as Phoebe Hunt nears the finish, it looks like she's coming up to 16. Miller and Nia together at 15. And Liana Stubbs, well, we have her as in or about to come into the finish area. So keep an eye out for Liana.
Toby Lang just finishing, of course. You would have seen the cockatoo running down to the finish. He's put himself into second. His time, 47 minutes. He is around 5 minutes behind David Stocks at this point.
So Ewan Shingler appearing at that pre-warning. M21E, he's dropped a few minutes there, I'd say. He's struggled, but remember the second half of the course is more technical. We should see him appear over the hill fairly shortly.
So on the GPS, we did see Miller and Nia look like they'd got together out on the course, and that's interesting because they've just come through one of the radio controls. Miller in fourth, and Nia has taken the lead, and she's taken the lead by a margin. A margin.
She's dominating this by a long way. So in second, Phoebe, and in third, Tita Fave from New Zealand. So at this stage, it could be Nia, then Phoebe, then Tita. I apologise if I haven't pronounced that correctly. And here's Ewan Shingler at the map change.
He threw his map in pretty hard to that box there, but he's got the second half to make up a bit of time. He's doing pretty well. He's only a few minutes down.
So while Ewan goes through, and obviously he's got some work to do, but the opportunity's still there. Can we just get the stake team relay captains to, well, just interrupt for a second, because here comes Nia Shingler, who looks like the winner from the W20E. So Nia Shingler coming into the finish. She's on the big screen and she's in the finish chute.
I mean, she's proving my point. She just looks like she's jogging, but she's absolutely dominated this field today. She's going to win by, well over 5 minutes. So that's a very, very impressive run.
Yeah, huge performance. Well done to her. Just getting better with every run.
So Nia Shingler, she's finished with a time of 36 minutes 39, and well, there's no one else under 44 minutes at this point. So she's really dominated the field today.
Ben, it's going to be interesting. We're going to get Nia up to the commentary area in a moment, and once she's downloaded, and well, that sort of performance is obviously, there's things that we can find out. Remember, we're going to be, which is apparently different, but the same forest. Obviously, Nia's got the magic ticket.
Well, I want some tips if you don't, Was, so
no,
I probably need them.
So we're, Ben, they're the Julian.
It's the Julian Felix showdown at the end, isn't it? And let's not forget Matt, because Matty Doyle is only another 10, 15 seconds back from Julian as well. So here we've got a bit of a time sink going on, a bit of a relay, and we'll see Julian work through the group. Remember Paul de Jong? He caught up with the Paul de Jong group.
He has.
He's passed them. He's gone underneath them. Superior route choice. I think he had cleaner running under there.
13 to 14. Could be easy to make a mistake. No, clean. Down the gully for Julian. We've just lost his GPS for a moment. So this is actually real time. So they were clustered together. Paul de Jong is going wide to left. Ethan fairly straight. And we're just waiting for Julian's GPS to pick back up again. That big grey cliff area looks fairly intimidating, and they seem to be going around it.
It's an interesting leg, isn't it? They've really, the organisers really given the competitor a real host of options to run. So Paul's obviously thought, I'm going to go wide and left under this grey, whereas Julian is attacking it, I would describe.
What's really interesting is that Ethan, who is in incredibly good shape right now, physically, is tailing Julian, but it doesn't look like he's sitting right on his tail. It looks like he's just been dragged a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to hang on, but he's just been pulled off a little bit. So and Felix Hunt struggling with his GPS, but we've got Nia here, and she looks fresh as a daisy.
Wow, Nia Shingler, winner, Australian Championships, W20E, by a reasonable margin. I think everybody wants to know, how did you do it?
I don't really know, to be honest, but I just kind of tried to not run fast and get lost, which is usually what happens. So I just tried to stay calm.
Okay, but there must be a little bit more to it than the emotion, is there? You know, we talk about processes and execution of skills. What was your process today?
Like using compass and looking up, I think was really helpful.
So from the very first start point, where you had that relatively short control into the detailed area, it was an easy, open, fast area. Temptation must have been high just to go fast. You obviously didn't. You just did something else.
Yeah, as I said, I just tried to stay calm, and I was like, I could run here, but I know it probably wouldn't end up well.
Did you have any moments during the course where it felt like it was unravelling, that your race could easily be lost?
Here. A little bit towards the end. There was just like a lot of rock and gully, and I just got a bit confused.
I'm just looking at the course now, and yes, there is lots of technical sections. You spent a lot of time orienteering. I know. You've committed a lot of time and effort and energy and commitment to being better, and you're seeing the rewards. If there's any one thing or cluster of things that making the difference, what do you think they are?
I don't know, just doing as much as possible. I think just getting in lots of different terrains, and yeah.
Well, you certainly got enough terrains in. I mean, you're in Scotland earlier on, and I know I've seen you all through Europe. Okay, so here you stand and winning a forest race where everybody thought you were a sprint specialist, and you won it comfortably. Are you now a forest specialist and the sprinting's behind you?
No, I don't reckon.
The one-word answer, so it's very... So, and your opposition, these other girls, you're going to step straight into the 21 Elite soon. You got another year at Junior World Championship. Next year it's in Italy. Then after that you start to step into the big-time walk level forest runs. I know you've ran them before. Next year in Italy, it's a steep, hilly, World War I mining terrain, and rural villages. Of those terrains, which one's going to be your priority or preference?
Probably the sprint, but yeah, I'll try in the forest, but probably harder for me.
I've noticed over the most recent time, including the World Masters, that Australian results are very good in sprint and not quite as good in the forest. This is a common thread that's developing. Do you think we're better sprinters?
I think the younger generation maybe, but I think we have potential.
Thanks, Nia. You're the champion today. Well done. Good luck for tomorrow. Who's in your relay team?
Erica and not sure.
Back to the relay team. So well done. Congratulations. See you tomorrow. The relay captains, can they come over to the registration area for tomorrow so they can get their information? And well done to Nia.
We'll have to ask Grant Blewett about his sprinting ability later on as part of the older generation, won't we?
There's a long and successful history of Australian orienteering in sprinting, that's for sure.
So while you were talking, we had Justine Hobson from the Cockatoos come in, really solid run. She's finished 4 minutes behind Nia Shingler, so the only one that's been able to get within 5 minutes so far.
So the order there goes, looks like Nia, followed by Justine, followed by Phoebe Hunt from New Zealand, and Tita Fave from New Zealand, and then Miller from Victoria, and Erica Enderby in 6th place. So that looks like our top 6.
Yep, and we're not too far away, I reckon, from having a few men's 21 elites coming in. So Leith is come in to the radio control, and he's holding on to second. He's around 2.5 minutes behind David Stocks at this point. But remember, they were a minute or so behind at least 4 or so runners that we've had just coming through in the last starters.
So that time of around about where David leads Leith, leads Toby, is with around about 3 or 4 controls to go, but we haven't yet got through the hot group at the end there, who we sit and wait, and we're seeing them on the screen as we speak. So let's have a look at that big screen and see what we can find.
Yeah, and there's an interesting course design too, because there's a couple of real open kind of run legs before they really get thrown back into the rock to finish. So there's opportunities for people to come and go through those last few sections.
So on the screen now is Matty Doyle, and he will be coming up to the last control. So we should see him in a very short moment. Yep, we just saw the last one there. Here he comes down. Got James following him with the camera. Deceptively quick, because you can just look at James, how difficult that is while he's running. And there goes Matt, finishing in what we know is a pretty good time. We're just going to wait.
I think he's going to take the lead here.
40.
There he goes. He's taken the lead. 41 minutes 17. He's taken about 35, 40 seconds out of David Stocks at this point.
And in 3rd place, Leith Soden in 43.08. So we have a benchmark, man. Is it going to stand up?
No, it's not, Woz. It's going to go down into 38 territory, I reckon, towards the end here.
So the crazy thing is we sit here drinking our lattes and eating from the hot food display area there, enjoying ourselves. Those guys are out in the forest pushing up hills, weaving through granite with a cluster of other people around them with the pressure on.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not me. I wish it could be me, but it's not. I don't know, like someone like Julian, pretty solid runner. He's used to dealing with pressure. He knows he's been in good positions. He's run some awesome relays in Europe. Julian's going to be solid out there. I think Felix is the question mark, right?
I think so too. This section, we're back up on the big screen right now. Well, you can see Julian's got through that 18, 19. The danger control was that 17 in the green. Now he's on his way through from 19 through to 20. And I'd put this down as the one of the last of the danger controls. There's maybe another one after that, but certainly if Julian nails this control, then he's a chance. But we just can't see how well Felix is going.
No, but I don't know if you noticed on that little GPS then, but it looked like Felix had caught Paul de Jong, but unfortunately Paul de Jong has dropped off the Julian train. So I am a bit concerned that Felix might have lost a bit of time. They are running across from, as we look at the map, it's a leg that goes from 19 to 20. And I've been watching too much cycling, but my comparison here, this is the Queen's leg. You know how they talk about the Queen's stage? This is the Queen's leg. This is make or break time right at the end.
Well, the course set has set them up. There's been that relatively easy section through 17, 18, or not 17 itself, but 17 to 18, 18 to 19. And then it's a feeling that the moment's going to happen. And by now, Julian, not the youngest runner out there, physically could be starting to struggle. But Felix, who is the youngest runner out there, has got some work to do, because what we're seeing is that it looks like he's dropped back a fraction.
He does, and then you don't know what the mind games play, right? Are the mind games going to be there where he goes, oh, I just need to settle down and take control again? Or is he feeling the pressure and he feels like he's made the mistake and he needs to make that time up, and that can be a dangerous headset to be in.
So we've just got a little bit more update, because we're at control 16, that last, or before an easier section, Felix Hunt was in front by a few seconds, 7 seconds. So the Queen's leg.
The Queen's leg, as it's now been named.
Wow.
Is coming up. Well,
we will surely have this on the screen.
Yeah, Julian's probably finished that Queen's leg now, so Felix is going to be on it.
So what's interesting is now, is it youth or experience?
I don't know. This depends if you're a betting person or not, doesn't it? If we had the odds coming up on the screen right now, then they'd be shifting around, I reckon. I reckon there'd be money behind the old, calm, experienced, been there, done that, seen it all before type of runner. So.
Although, Benny, I like the idea of a young guy powering through the rocks with reckless abandon. Old guys start to get conservative. But we are doing our best. We're building, aren't we, Ben?
Yeah, this Queen's leg is really, really cracker. I'm glad it's on screen and we're all taking it all in.
Actually, we have right next to somebody who has been in this sort of circumstance, Grant Blewett. Grant, if you were out there right now giving advice, you're giving advice to Felix, who's the younger of the two. This has come down to the wire. We're in the most difficult part of the course. He's leading, but only a few seconds in front of Julian. What would you, if you're running with him as his coach, talking to him, like you do in other sports, what would you be saying?
Run as fast as you can, run straight, and look for a blue top straight ahead of you, and that'll be Julian.
Can't get any better than that.
Yep.
Thanks, Grant. That's all we needed from Grant. Run straight, run fast, and look for the guy in front. I don't know if that's all we needed, Benny. I think there was going to be more than that, but that's all Grant gave us. So we sit and wait.
I think it's something to do with the glasses that Grant might need to wear these days. He's just looking for something that stands out in the forest, like a different coloured shirt.
A beacon, perhaps. So just to recount the winners from the other grades, we've obviously got Renee Beveridge from the W21E, Nia Shingler from the 20E, and both those have won quite easily, or won well. And Sam Wolford, who was here a moment ago, who won the 20E. So we've got one New Zealander, 2 Australians. Is there some symmetry happening, Benny? Because Felix is New Zealander.
Yeah, so you reckon the Kiwis are going to take out the senior classes, and the Australians have got the junior classes.
Felix is junior.
Is that because the juniors, the Kiwi juniors are running up into the seniors? Possibly.
Here comes soon to be in the finish area is Robbie.
Rob Preston, known for his navigation, but I did see
and endurance.
Yeah, but I did see the change of direction. He's just taken out there to find the last control, and here he is now, coming down. Not known as the fastest finisher, but very solid results, particularly in this rock technical terrain.
So we've found Sam Wolford, the winner from the men's 20E. Sam's got the new Australian gear on. If you haven't seen it, looks fantastic. Sam, you're cut a fine figure, and you did well out there today.
Thanks, Warren.
Sam's a man of few words, Ben.
Seems to be the junior way.
Exactly. They obviously know that they shouldn't be talking to me in case they give away something.
Just ask them for some hashtags.
Yeah. Any hashtags, Sam?
Hashtag win.
Hashtag win. How did you do it? How did you win today?
I didn't make too many mistakes. My biggest time loss was about 50 seconds on one control, and I followed Jake for a lot of it, so that too.
Wow. Well done. Your form is good. You've had a great season overseas and continuing on now. You have no injuries?
Well, I did actually hurt my Achilles just after jaywalk, so I haven't been running as much, but it seems good now, and I'm feeling fit.
Looking back at your jaywalks, you did really well. There was talk for a while there you were considered a sprint specialist, and you had to prove otherwise, and you did. How was jaywalk?
Jaywalk was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the courses, and I felt good out there, so I'm really happy with my results.
Well done. It was a good time. And
Here we go. Here we
hold
go.
on, sorry, Sam.
Coming over, you'll see him pop into the last control in a couple of seconds.
Hold on.
Well, actually, maybe not.
Hold on.
He's unsure.
Hold on.
Wowzers. Julian losing dramatic seconds here at the end.
Tick, tick, tick. There it is. He's back in business.
Coming down the finish chute in what's obviously been a great run. Unfortunately, we don't know how the Queen's leg went, but he obviously hasn't taken too long.
38 years old, young. Julian down into the finish, running for New South Wales, and his time ticks over now. And now we wait for...
Yeah, and he's taken the lead, obviously, so he's taken only 25, 30 seconds out of Matt Doyle, so I don't know if he's had the best second half of the course there.
The Queen's leg, is it, Ben?
I think it probably was the Queen's leg. I mean, we're going to have to look at that GPS later. But
it's going to be fun. That's what's great about it. The analysis after the event is so much more interesting now than ever before. We can look back splits and where they went, talk to them.
Yeah, and you asked me before, if where was my money? And it was on Julian. And I thought the second half he would come home strong. But it doesn't look that way. I mean, he hasn't had a bad second half. But let's be honest, Felix was only, he was a few seconds ahead, halfway around that second last.
7 seconds before the last complicated section. So we should be gazing across to the top of the hill. We can see our cameraman up there. He's pointing down here. Is that Felix now?
I can see a Kiwi.
It looks like a Kiwi.
And I don't reckon it's been 2 minutes.
Has it?
I don't think it's been 2 minutes.
Has it been 2 minutes? Ben doesn't think so. Felix is running very fast. He didn't waste any time at the top there. We're waiting and waiting. He's almost there.
And Julian lost those few seconds right at the top, didn't he?
Let's wait and see. Ben?
Oh, he's got it!
Oh
Felix has won! Wow! Quite comfortably in the end, but we had to build the response. We had to build the suspense all the same. He's won by about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Well
congratulations, Felix.
Well done,
yep,
mate.
and if we can get him over here, that'd be great. I might go down there, Ben. Hopefully we'll cover it.
Yep.
So,
Felix, they want you, mate.
here comes Paul de Jong.
So Paul de Jong is coming into the finish now, and he's had a very good run too. He's going to feature up into the top 4 or 5 runners or so, I believe. Six runner.
So I've got Felix here in the finish chute, Ben. He hasn't downloaded yet, so he'll be still a little bit anxious. Finish here. How did it go, Felix? At this stage, before you put your dipper into the hole there, that you're the winner. 30 seconds. How was your race?
Really clean. I was really stoked.
get back over net.
I think you might have wandered off a bit too far into the distance there, was.
As he downloads. Oh, it's taking a while. Yeah, but we can see, as far as I can see, it's clean. Felix Hunt, well done.
I can't believe it. I don't know. After Europe, didn't all go to plan. I was sick for jaywalk, so as soon as I got back, I think it took about less than 6 hours for me to book flight to Aussie. I needed to redeem myself, have some runs I was happy with, and I think I'm at.
And well done, and we're going to. Well done today. It's a great effort, and be very proud. Sweet.
So well done to Felix. He's come through 29 seconds ahead of Julian Dent and 52 seconds ahead of Matt Doyle. Dave Stocks down in fourth position. Leith Soden has wrapped up the fifth place position. So, was called it earlier, we've got the Kiwis taking out the senior classes, we've got the Australians taking out the junior classes of our men's and women's elite fields today.
So we've had 2 wins for New Zealand individually and in the seniors, and 2 wins individually for Australia in the juniors. So, being totally biased, and I'd say that's, we'll call that square. Is that square?
That's square. We can say it'll be interesting to see the results tomorrow.
Relay
the
time.
relays. Particularly in the women's 20 elites class, I reckon, Warren, because we've got a real mix of Australians and Kiwi runners in the top 6 or so runners. So I think there's a class that'll be really interesting to watch.
For sure. I just checked with Nick. Are we back here again tomorrow, Nick?
Yeah, we're back here tomorrow and again next Saturday. So can I just put in a plug? We're going to have the presentations ASAP. And there are random prizes, many random prizes worth winning. If you didn't get a medal today, hang around, have a coffee, have something to eat from Faux Plus, and then shortly over in front of the big screen we'll be having the presentation of the medals and random prizes. And we're back here tomorrow for the relays.
I'm looking forward to it. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, there's a AFL Grand Final. Let's not forget to get through first. So we'll see what state we are in for the race tomorrow after that.
Who do you think, Ben? One last tip. I mean, you were right with Felix. One last tip. Sydney or Brisbane? Don't put the house on it.
Yeah, look, I think Brisbane's got it.
I could go either way, but I'm going Sydney. They don't seem to have many injuries leading into it, Ben. So I like how ruthless they are. Efficiency's their number one thing. They don't waste the ball.
Yeah, they really value the ball, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
They want it. They want it more.
Yes, and when they get it, they don't give it away easily. They don't waste any seconds in the forest. They don't waste any seconds. They use the ball to the highest value. Data. We need more data.
Yeah, there's all those analogies. They want it more. They take care of it more. Orienteering and AFL, it's really the same.
It's almost the same sport.
Yeah.
I mean, Felix, there's $1 million on the prizes there today. Well done, mate.
Yeah, and there's 80,000 in the arena. So there you go.
All right. See you tomorrow.
For those with a map change today, the elite classes, if you want your first map back, you should come up and grab it from where you dropped, you had the map change during the course, so just outside the arena. There is a bit of a replay going with the time sync, so you can see Felix was just ahead at the end of that Queen's leg. And I tell you what, that's where it was won.
the unlucky one.